Tom Price, please come forward.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What a beautiful day. You know, it's somebody's birthday today. Anybody know whose? Ronald Reagan. 99 years young. Reagan knew the importance of the Christian Alliance across his land. Reagan knew in his heart and in his soul and so wonderfully shared with the American people the imperative of recognizing that liberty comes from God Almighty and not from the federal government. And that's what we need to remember daily. Sadie, I'm so pleased to join you, and thank you again for your wonderful leadership. Orthopedic surgeons are great, great people. I'm an orthopedic surgeon, by the way. I'm going to talk about orthopedics. Listen, I want to thank you all for what you do every single day. It's been quite a year, hasn't it? A remarkably challenging year, but the smiles that I see across this audience are bigger today than they were a year ago. Because of what you have done. The changes that have occurred across this land are not because of those of us who have the privilege of representing you in Washington. The changes that have occurred are because the American people have been awakened. Awakened to the threats to their freedom, to their liberty, to their very existence by a leftist leadership. And they have responded as Americans do, which is to stand up and say, not on our watch, we're not going to allow that. And you have done that, as have so many people across this land. So I want to just thank you for your remarkable work and the work that I know you will continue to do in the coming years. And in Washington, the waterfront is a little different today than it was just 3 weeks ago. Massachusetts. They figured it out in Massachusetts, which is a wonderful thing. I mean, people say, well, how deep is the undercurrent of the discontent out there? Massachusetts. They have figured it out, and the American people are responding, as I mentioned, that is by standing up and saying we're not going to take it anymore. Massachusetts proves a lot of things. One thing it does prove, as you and I know, is that the good Lord answers prayers. The good Lord answers prayers. I have been asked to share a few words about health care as a former practicing physician. And healthcare is one of those things that brought the whole issue of government intervention into our lives at every single turn, front and center. And these folks in charge right now in Washington believe that they can not only make better decisions about your finances and better decisions about where you ought to be inserted into society. They believe that they can make better decisions about your very personal health. And that's just wrong. The American people know it's wrong. And so as we think about the whole issue of health care and the challenges that we face, what I know you want us to do, I believe, because I hear from you every single day, is that if you just stick to constitutional principles on health care and everything else, we're going to be just fine. We're going to be just fine. Because it's principle and the rule of law that have made us the greatest nation in the history of the world. In the history of the world. So when we confront these incredible challenges, it's astounding to me that somebody who is in a position of leadership would say, oh, we don't need to follow principle. We can follow the lead of some other nation. Somebody else that had a supposedly grand idea. The reason all this feels so peculiar is because the, quote, solutions that are being offered don't look like anything like we recognize as American solutions, right? And so we say, what the heck are you doing? What are you doing? And so in the area of health care, if you think about the principles of health care and the things that we ought to adhere to as we attempt to correct the challenges that we have in health care, because the status quo is unacceptable. Status quo is unacceptable. But it doesn't mean that you have to put insurance companies in charge or government in charge. We can put patients in charge. How about that for a novel concept, huh? So if you think about accessibility or affordability or quality or responsiveness or innovation or choices, all of those things that you and I believe in for healthcare, none of them are improved by the further intervention of the federal government. Not one. And so you get this gang up there in Washington who says, oh no, we can increase accessibility with the government. Oh yeah? That's an interesting concept. You know, you look at the programs that the government runs, quite a challenge. Affordability, all of those programs have overrun their costs. Quality, I would suggest to you that the quality of government programs is significantly less. Responsiveness, innovation, government, I don't think so. Choices, government, I don't think so. So the reason that the American people have stood up and said, not on our watch, is because they don't believe in the solutions that are being offered by these folks in charge right now. And as much as I or anybody else in the United States Congress or the United States Senate would like to say, we've been standing in the gap, the fact of the matter is that it's been you and the American people over the last year who have said, not on our watch. And so I want to challenge you as we move forward in this exciting year, this most important year in American history, I believe. I want to challenge you to not just continue the involvement that you've had, but to increase your involvement. Increase your involvement and recruit others to the cause. Because the only way we will take our nation back is for the American people to stand up and say, not that direction, we need to move in a principled American solutions direction. You going to do that?
Yes.
All right. If you do that, you will have men and women of wonderful character, I promise you, who will stand up with you in Washington and across this land in order to take our country back. Because my favorite quote, as some of you will know, of one of our founders, Samuel Adams, who said, it doesn't take a majority to prevail, but an irate and tireless minority. Right here. We've got an irate and tireless minority keen on setting brush fires of freedom in the minds of men and women. I'm honored to stand with you to help set those brush fires of freedom. Thank you so much. God bless you.